I'm Rod Howe. I'm the Executive Director of the History Center in Tompkins County. And when I was hired a little over 4 years ago, the Board of Trustees made it very clear that one of the major items of my responsibilities would be to find a new home for the History Center in Tompkins County, given that our long lease, a 25-year lease, would be ending at the Gateway Center in December of 2018.
I'm David Ferber, and I've been closely involved with the development of this amazing space. So as I was on the board and we were talking about, well, the lease is up at the end of 2018, we got to go somewhere, so what kind of space do we want to be in the future and so forth. And that kicked along for a while until the opportunity for this building came up. They found Tessellate Studio, the museum designers who came in. Joe and Emily went back and they came back with several ideas.
Joe is an architect, background in architecture. My background is in technology, so thinking through and interactive. So thinking through how those two things come together. And when we started working with the History Center, we started with the narratives, the narrative outline, that the stories that they wanted to tell. And then thinking through, like, okay, how can that be organized? And it was Rod who came up with this idea of place, people, landscape, architecture, culture, and enterprise.
The History Center is deeply grateful for the hard work of the students, volunteers, trustees, and professional movers who helped us pack and move, and there's plenty of unpacking ahead of us.
Scrapbooks are here, books are here, so let's look at archival supplies right in between them. Yes, please.
No, this is cool.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
And we also came up with a very flexible modular system for how content gets displayed. So the ability to change out, we felt was really important, because our take on history museums is that you shouldn't set them up one day and that's it.
So we knew going into it that we needed to create some kind of system for the partners to be able to contribute and to share their narratives and their artifacts and their stories. And so that was a critical part of it, and also part of this content management system that we think of, like the central nervous system of the exhibits, which is any partner who's part of this is able to contribute their narrative to this. So whether it be a date that they want to add to the timeline, whether it be an artifact that's going to go into the tower, whether it's going to be part of the exhibit explorers, a piece of media. There's lots of ways for the partners to be able to contribute to this. We learned something really interesting when we were just working with the Cayuga Nation and Debbie and Sachem George and Jolene, which is, we had this idea for the timeline tunnel, right? Of course, there's an old bank vault, you walk in, you're already in this immersive environment. So it was sort of the natural spot to have a timeline tunnel. And then after talking with them, it's like, that's great, but that's a very European, that's a very Cartesian perspective of time. And so dialing back, saying, okay, well, let's make sure we've got a great space so we can tell the indigenous, the Cayugan story of how time is represented, how culture is represented, and trying to tap into that. We wanted to do it right. We knew it was going to be a tall order, and we took it very seriously. So working closely with them, thinking of the vault door, which is round, and using that as the symbol and the representation, physically, and then creating the media that would help tell that story before you even get into the timeline tunnel. So it's the precursor to that.
Certainly, we will continue to be very involved in oral histories and sharing narratives, and one of the smallest story vaults is actually going to be called a story vault, where people can listen to oral histories and record their own narrative.
The story vault where locals can come in and tell their story, talk about what it's like growing up in Tompkins County, to give that human perspective on what life is like in Tompkins County. And we also, Ithaca's a really interesting place, and we've learned a lot about it. Not only Ithaca, but Tompkins County in general. You know, from the beautiful landscape all the way to its history and industry, and so it's also an international place because of the two universities that are here. So we put up a world map inside the story vault so that people could sort of identify, put a pin in the map where they come from. Because what's really unique about this project is it's for the local community, but it's also for the international community that comes through this part of upstate New York. So we wanted to have something that would visually represent that idea that Ithaca and Tompkins County in general is a very diverse place.
It's a place to come and do local historical research as well. We have an expanded new library here with a wonderful space to store our archives. Obviously, the major artifact that people will see when they come into the space is the Tommy plane.
Okay. It'll fit. But let us know if we have to move this.
Okay, I don't think we do.
Great.
It's all yours now. Have a good day.
And we view that as an educational asset, just as we use the 8 Square Schoolhouse to do educational programs. We are deeply grateful for all of the entities who help make this possible, and there will be other venues to recognize them.
Donna is a behind-the-scenes person who is utterly indispensable to the operations of this place, not to mention the last 14 months of moving. Over 14 months, Donna has led volunteers, interns, and professional movers in the cataloging, packing, and careful moving of thousands, literally thousands of artifacts, hundreds of paintings, more than 3,000 local history books, 1,200 historic maps, several hundred archival collections, and over 100,000 photographs.
This is lovely. This is so sweet. I'm very grateful for this honor. This has been a real labor of love for me, but I'll be happy when it's over.
Wow.
Looks a little different, doesn't it?
A lot different.
My name is John Spence. I'm the Executive Director of the Community Arts Partnership. We're the Arts Council for Tompkins County, and we're excited about moving into the new center. We're involved with contemporary art, and we will have a very lovely large gallery on the first floor. We will participate in First Friday gallery nights every month, and we think with the other partners there's lots of room for cross-pollination. So bouncing ideas off one another, exchanging our audiences. We're looking forward to all of that in the coming months.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Tavares, and I'm the president of the Tompkins Chamber, and we also manage the Ithaca Tompkins County Convention and Visitors Bureau under the brand Visit Ithaca. And so our component of the project is to move our downtown visitor center from where it is in Center Ithaca to the Tompkins Center for History and Culture. A benefit of this move will not only be that we will have a much better, beautiful new visitor center space, but we also will have a gift shop downtown, which is not a component we've had previously. So as we manage the gift shop, we will be also including product from numerous partner organizations, and we'll have the opportunity to feature, their retail items as well, whatever people experience in the Tompkins Center for History and Culture that they might like to take home with them as a souvenir. We'll be able to help make those items available to the general public and both visitors and residents alike.
So to be on the Ithaca Commons, really the center of Tompkins County, and now to be partnered with 11 different organizations in the same place is really just a dream come true. This is a game changer for the History Center. We're going to be open more hours. We're in a much more visible spot. The opportunities for collaboration are endless. It really allows us to play our mission out more fully, to engage with the public more fully. We are a key organization that thinks about heritage tourism, so this is also a place to support heritage tourism. We see tours emanating from here, but even in our exhibits and our programming, we'll talk about sustainability, we'll talk about being connected to your place, we'll talk about being connected with each other, and that host stream of past, present, and future will be a consistent theme that we weave into everything that we do. So the History Center is delighted to be here. The staff and trustees see this as the end of a long 4-year road, but here we are. So come and explore the towers, the timeline, the research library, the children's area, the story vault, and plan on engaging with our local history.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this very special occasion today. It is my great honor to get this celebration officially started, to introduce the brand new Tompkins Center for History and Culture. We have such a rich arts and cultural scene here in Ithaca. It's really pretty amazing when you think about it. And so it gives me great pleasure to turn things back over to the Dorothy Cotton Singers, one of the groups that contributes to that. So please join me in a round of applause again as we welcome back Dr. Brute Whitehead and the Dorothy Cotton Singers.
It is the grounding of a foot. It's not the going of a life. It's not the waking of eyes. It's not the waking. It's the rising. It's not the shade we should be casting. It's the light and it's the obstacles that cast it. It's the heat that drives the light. It's the fire it ignites. It's not the waking, it's the rising. And I could cry, power, 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 Lord. Nina cried, power. Billy cried, power. Mavis cried, power. And I could cry, power. They cried power. Oh, I could cry power, power, power. Oh, Billy cried power. Curtis cried power. James Brown cried power.
When you're your way.